All right, we are live. Manny Energy Products Distribution. We are here to talk about windshield protection films today.
Hey, Eric.
Thanks for interrupting your Wednesday in the middle of the day to go live and talk about windshield protection films today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been too long since I've been on your podcast, so I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for doing it. It's perfect timing, being that a couple weeks ago was SEMA, and if you walked around SEMA, you couldn't help but notice there are a lot of companies offering windshield protection films. So where I'd like to start off, my first question essentially is, what happened? This is obviously a film that's been available for many years now. You've been distributing Bray windshield skin for as long as I've known you, at least.
Mhm.
And is there a change in technology? Is this a change in availability? Is this just simply everybody decided to grow their offering at once? How did this become so popular all of a sudden?
I think that's a great question, and I think there are a few answers that kind of come together to form a complete answer. To your point, the product category of windshield protection film has been around for about 20 years. And it just seems like sort of in the tint and PPF channel, there's been a lot more activity or traction with this product just within the past couple of years. And I think a lot of that has to do with the technology of the film, along with the environment of new cars today. So when you look at what the film is supposed to do, it's supposed to protect a windshield from cracking. And more windshields from today's cars are more sophisticated because of the integration of ADAS technologies, or advanced driver assistance systems. That windshield is so vital to some of these features that we as drivers have grown accustomed to, like lane departure or blind spot mirroring or collision avoidance systems. And the windshields play an important part of those systems, and therefore the price of windshield replacement has increased substantially. Marry that to the films themselves have become so much easier to install just within the past couple years. So for example, to your point, EPD distributes a product called Windshield Skin. It's manufactured by Bray Group International. And Bray Group International, a couple years ago, about 2 years ago now, or maybe 3, introduced a new product called Super Stretch. And that's a urethane-based windshield protection film, which is a departure from PET-based films, which were the norm. And urethane-based films are a lot easier to install than PET-based films. So you have the installation, or the tinner or the PPF installer, now embracing the ease of installation, recognizing that it's a profitable product because of windshields now becoming more sophisticated and more expensive, even on daily drivers. And so it's just a natural fit as dealers look to grow their business.
So yeah, I mean, one point that I just can't help but go back to is you mentioned, how expensive, because of technology being built into windshields, that has become. So when you think about who is a customer of this, I think traditionally, my mind at least would go to, like, you think of exotic cars, you think of cars that have very expensive windshields, but now a car's windshield cost doesn't necessarily relate to the cost of the car. It could be a $40,000 car with a $3,000 windshield. Is that about right?
That's exactly right. I think if you look at the history of windshield protection film going back 20 years, it really did focus on exotic cars because those windshields were just expensive because they're on exotic cars. And so the value proposition of windshield protection film on an exotic car was there, but it may not have been on a regular daily driver, simply because the windshields of a daily driver years ago weren't that expensive because there was no technology incorporated into those windshields. Today, on a daily driver, you do have technology incorporated into those windshields. And what I mean by that is, when you look at all the major automobile manufacturers that sell cars in this country, along with the brands that they support, pretty much about 95%, if I'm not mistaken, have committed to introducing some form of an ADAS component. And that basically means that if they're committing to ADAS or some sort of increased driver response system. The windshields play a part of that. So it basically means windshields for every car, or most every car, is going to incorporate some form of expensive technology in it, which means the replacement cost for that windshield is no longer $200 or $300 like it might have been historically. And today, an average windshield replacement, including calibration or before calibration, might be around $1,700. Add an extra $100 or $200 for calibration at the dealership, and that's third-party data. That's not my data. In fact, that was third-party data that I heard at WFCT offered. And so it's kind of like the days of a $300-400 windshield, those are over, even for a regular car.
Yeah. Yeah. Even for like your side mirror these days, there's technology built into that.
Yeah.
So it's no longer a side
Yeah.
mirror, it's a whole thing that's wired in.
Exactly right. And I think the consumer doesn't necessarily understand this until they've had their windshield crack and they have to go through the expense of replacing it. And I don't know that every window film and PPF dealer yet understands that either. Sure, they know windshields and they know, glass and things like that, but may not necessarily recognize that a lot of the windshields that they might be working on, let's say the tint, might be more expensive than they realize, and they might realize it's expensive when they crack one, and they realize, wow, that Toyota Camry windshield of $2,000 was a lot more expensive than a Toyota Camry windshield from 5 years ago.
Right. So being that it's something that is essentially, well, it's new to being sold. So like you said, customers, consumers, and even tint shops aren't necessarily aware of any of this until it happens to them. So if you're out there and you're thinking, I want to offer this to my customer base, it's probably something you're going to need to be proactive in your offerings, because if you sit back and wait for customers to ask you for it, you probably, I don't know, I don't think you'll do too well. So if somebody's thinking about that and now they're going, okay, so I want to offer this to my customers, what I'd love to kind of dive into is all the things that they would need to know to properly offer this, not only to the right people, but offer the products in general the right way. And also the kind of common things you've seen throughout the years that might trip up dealers that potentially you don't know until you do it, but these are things that you didn't know you shouldn't say, but you said it, or you shouldn't do and you did it. What do you think? Like, well, I guess starting with who is the customer? Is it really just the newer models and be trying to become familiar with what technologies and what models, so you can speak kind of intelligently to the customer on it?
Yeah, so I think to one of your initial points about awareness, there's little awareness to this product. I mean, there's little awareness to tint and PPF, although it's increased substantially in just the past few years. And so there's even less awareness to this product category of windshield protection film. Having said that, I think the customer that brings their car into a tint shop already is conditioned to having film installed on glass. Now, this just happens to be clear and installed on the outside versus tint, which is not clear and is installed on the inside, but it is nevertheless film installed on glass. I also think the PPF customer has been conditioned to installing film to protect their car's paint. That's a lot of surface area. The car's painted areas represent a big surface area percentage of an automobile, but so does the windshield. Why not put a very similar product, meaning film, on the windshield to protect it when you're protecting the paint? And, the truth of the matter is nobody wants chipped paint, but, you can kind of fill in a little nick with some touch-up paint, and most people won't know it's there, and you can do it for very little cost. But to replace a windshield could cost, $1,500 to $2,000 more expensive than fixing a small little paint chip. So the value proposition is there. However, you have to explain it to the customer. You also have to set customer expectations, just like you'd have to do with tint or PPF. But I also say that, there's a learning curve for the dealer too, just like there's a learning curve for the dealer to install PPF or tint. There's a learning curve, and specifically I'm talking about a selling learning curve for this film, because it's installed on the outside You see through it. It's not tint and it's not PPF, so the expectations have to be different.
So going back to kind of the product, the easy to install product is known as a TPU. And
Correct.
the more difficult product to install would be known as a PET. That's kind of, you're looking at products, you could kind of see which one it is and get an understanding for what you're in for. Would you look at like TPU as kind of what people should focus on because of ease of installation and the overall like value prop to the customer? Or is there a market for both and we should start with identifying which is the right fit for either the right shaped windshield or maybe usage or whatnot?
Yeah. So I don't know if I think that's a great question and there are differences. So let's kind of look at the history. The history of this product category is that windshield protection film historically has been PET based products. And for those who don't know, a PET based product would be very similar to security film. Now, to install a PET based windshield protection film on a curved windshield, you have to heat shrink the film into place. And that is a very, very laborious process. It's more laborious. It takes longer than sort of shrinking tint on back glass. And the reason for that is because it's thicker film. And so it is an art. It requires patience. And what makes the skills that make you adept at installing tint on back glass are not necessarily the same skills that would make you successful at installing windshield protection film. It's not the same process. And so if the old adage is true, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, what happens is that an installer starts thinking that they can install windshield protection film the same way they install tint on the back glass, and you just simply can't do that. It is a completely different installation. Now, to take 2 hours to install PET film on a windshield, it can be frustrating, it can be challenging, and you may not even have that kind of time available to essentially relegate a bay and an installer to focus on one windshield. I mean, certainly you can if the profit dollars are there. That's where urethane comes in. Now, within the recent past, urethane has been introduced as a film that does not require shrinking into place. It doesn't even require stretching into place. We hear urethane, we think of paint protection film. This is not the same as paint protection film. It is similar, but it is not the same. The urethane, in the case of windshield skin, which is the product that I distribute, it's a TPU. It's a different type of urethane, and it needs to be, right? Because unlike paint protection film, where you sort of look at paint, you look through PPF to look at paint, you don't actually have to see through it. You have to look through windshield protection film so you can see the road. So optical clarity is really key, and then you don't have really orange peel from the paint masking any kind of optical distortion either. So it's not the same product. I want to be really clear. But having said that, you don't even have to stretch it into place. It lays down in such an easy way that the average windshield takes about 20 minutes or less to install. And in fact, we've even done windshield film competitions at some of the trade shows where, you know, superstar installers can install it in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. That's how easy it is to install. So from an installation standpoint, the urethane is more desirable than the PET. Now let's look at it though from a performance standpoint. From a performance standpoint, mil for mil, PET provides better impact protection than urethane. So if you're to take a 4 mil thick PET windshield protection film and compare it to a 4 mil thick urethane windshield protection film and test them both under the same conditions, you probably find that the PET offers greater impact protection. So in real life, it would probably perform better. So to get the similar performance in urethane, you have to increase the thickness. So for example, windshield skin, the product I distribute, is available in 8 mils and 12 mils for even greater impact protection. Now, PET typically provides better optical clarity than urethane. So you have some pros and cons to each, and you have some trade-offs to each. And I think the question gets to be to the installer or the dealer, what am I okay with? On one hand, mil for mil, I can provide better impact protection with PET and better optical clarity, but it's going to take me longer to install. Maybe I have to charge more accordingly. Versus urethane, which is easier to install. I probably have to install a thicker film, like an 8 mil or a 12 mil film, in order to offer similar protection to a 4 mil PET film, but it's only going to take me 20 minutes to install. And the economics of that are great. In fact, Eric, I've been saying, I think this is the most profitable product that a tint shop or a PPF shop can add on to their existing product line. You know, when you look at the tint and PPF shop, maybe they add ceramic coatings or vinyl or color PPF or windshield protection film. The economics on this film are so great. First, it's not a niche product, whereas maybe color PPF is niche. It's geared to someone who wants to change the color of their car, and there are a lot of great color PPFs out there. But urethane protection film, windshield protection film does apply to every car, really. And so for a 20-minute installation, an average retail price to the consumer of $500, material price of around $200, that's profit, you know, before you pay any overhead or labor or anything like that, of $300 for 20 minutes worth of work. And if you sell it right, it's an add-on to an existing tint job or PPF job. So it becomes a no-brainer.
And the skill to install it, I mean, being that labor is such a tough thing in this industry, the skill to install it obviously is, I think, lower than its competitor, a lot lower than its competitor, you know, like a tint or PPF.
Yeah.
So that is a huge bottleneck that a lot of people might be facing is labor. And this is a way to maybe shift some of the labor force you already have or new labor into something that, like you said, could be so profitable.
Exactly
and you said
right.
if you sell it right, and I'd love to kind of, you know, I feel like to me, what is helpful is kind of running through all the actual things somebody will run into when they go to sell this, if they're going to be successful. And I feel like kind of going through that sales process of like that transition from PPF, somebody, if we're going to say, hey, let's offer it to people who are getting some sort of PPF on their vehicle, that's when I'll know when to introduce this product, what that transition looks like. And then I think it becomes kind of easy to kind of replicate what they heard and just do it in their shop. And then if it works, they say this was genius. And if it didn't, they might say it was their customers, or who knows.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think there's a learning curve to selling this product, and not only that, but expectations to the end user have to be set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone getting into this industry had a learning curve with installing tint and PPF, so this is no exception. Now, the labor aspect of this is easy peasy because it's only 20 minutes for installation. That's the one thing you don't have to worry about. In fact, we even have on our YouTube channel a video of our trainer, Dustin Gonzalez, installing windshield skin blindfolded. That's how easy it is. So he was actually able to do it blindfolded. We called it the blindfold challenge. And we did that to really exaggerate the fact that it's so easy to install. So the challenge becomes the selling aspect of it. And there is a learning curve. So first of all, it's important for the dealer to recognize they have a built-in customer base, as I mentioned before. The tint or the PPF customer is already thinking about film for their car. So they have a built-in customer base for this product. It is up to the dealer, though, to make the customer aware of the product and sell it. To do that, you have to really understand windshield replacement and recognize that it's no longer a $300 or $400 item. Recognize that it's now a $1,700, $1,800 item upwards. I mean, some windshields cost $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to replace. Now, obviously, I'm talking about, you know, very rare exotics, but the point is, windshields are not inexpensive. On top of that, windshield replacement is a hassle. Nobody wants to actually have to go to Safelite or have Safelite come out to them, get their windshield replaced with non-OEM factory glass that's, you know, made of overseas. It may not be made to the same specification that, you know, Toyota or Ford required of the original glass. You always worry, was it installed right? Is it going to leak? You always worry about, you know, the original seal of the car now being compromised.
I had I bought a new car and I found out that the windshield was cracked after. They cracked it, repaired it, and I realized after. So it's like all of the things you're saying were check marks. And
You
then like the
know,
calibration, you wonder, is the calibration right? You'll find out if you ever wreck the vehicle. That's when you'll find out that the
yeah,
calibration wasn't right. But other than that, like you don't know anything. And so
that's
your
right.
point is so right. And like you said earlier, when it happens to you, it really resonates with you. But anyway,
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you say that. I mean, you really only know this happens when it happens to you. And the dealer has to be able to explain all of this to the end user. And that doesn't mean every tint or PPF customer is going to, want it. But I bet you a good percentage will. Whether it's 20% or 30%, even on that low end, this product is so profitable that those profits will add up substantially. And the education piece comes to being able to showcase the product as well, right? So just like we have tint boards or PPF boards and demos and things like that, Windshield Skin offers a very comprehensive dealer program that includes point of purchase displays so that you can outfit your showroom. So that so that an end user sitting in a dealer's showroom waiting for their tint to be done or their PPF to be done starts looking around at the various walls in the shop and sees some point of sale material, sees wall boards, sees little demo displays and things like that. So it starts the conversation between the end user as well as and the dealer salesperson as to what's that product. Plus, the dealer salesperson should take every opportunity to upsell every tint and PPF customer to windshield protection film and use all of the various point of purchase displays to do that. And again, I go back to saying, look, not every end user that walks through the door is going to want it. But if 20 to 30% do at $300 of profit for a 20-minute install, you do 50 cars in a week, let's say, and all of a sudden 10 customers want it, and that's that's $300 a piece. That's $3,000 in profit before, labor and overhead. That's just, retail minus cost of material per week. I mean, that adds up. And that's why it's so important for the dealers to familiarize themselves with this product. Now, one of the challenges that I face, Eric, is that a lot of dealers over the past 10 or 15 years have familiarized themselves with windshield protection film, and they got sour on it. And a lot of it was because it was so difficult to install. And that is true for the PET-based films, especially if you didn't receive the appropriate training. There are definitely some people out there that make PET windshield protection film installation look easy because they're willing to learn. They're willing to recognize it's not the same technique as tint, so they make it look easy. But some installers just kind of want to push that Staples easy button. Well, that's where this new urethane product comes into play. So a manufacturer like Windshield Skin actually offers both products. We offer the PET-based films for those dealers that like the PET film with, the better impact protection mil for mil, the better optical clarity. Or we offer the urethane for the dealer that wants easier to install for 20 minutes worth of installation. So those dealers that kind of got soured on this product category years ago are probably not familiar with the fact that there's urethane-based films there that make life a lot easier. But the other challenge is recognizing what this film is and what it isn't. It is not a set it and forget it film like PPF or tint are. I mean, admittedly, you probably should care for your PPF. Certain manufacturers say, hey, do this or do that in order to make the longevity of the product, 10 years or longer, whatever the case might be. Tint is typically set it and forget it. Windshield protection film is not set it and forget it. It does require ongoing maintenance, and not because the film is a low quality, but because this is the only film that that is installed on the outside that you have to look through in order to drive your car. Tint is installed on the inside. It's not installed on the outside. And PPF, while installed on the outside, is installed on the painted surfaces of your vehicle. you don't look through those to drive your car. You only look through the glass. So what happens is this film is subjected to the outside elements, UV, windshield wiper haze, precipitation, film is porous, things like that. So this particular film requires ongoing maintenance from your customer in order to get the best experience that you can get from this material. And so it is crucial for the dealer to understand this, to explain it to the end user so that the expectations with the end user are clear. And with a good explanation to the end user of what it is and isn't, you'll find that most end users accept the product's limitations because the product solves a real need. And that is, they don't want a cracked windshield.
So what are some of those things that an end user would need to do to maintain their film?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, Windshield Skin offers maintenance wipes. Now, these maintenance wipes are specially formulated for Windshield Skin windshield protection film. So every 6 to 8 car washes, we recommend that the end user take this specially formulated wipe. It's like a Lysol wipe. Wipe it on the film. And what that does is it restores the clear coat or the top coat of the material. So it rejuvenates the film. It prolongs the life of the film while restoring optical clarity. That's some simple maintenance. Mm-hmm. Some additional maintenance is to say, and I think you would do this even if you didn't have windshield protection film installed. But, if you've got a leaf stuck underneath your windshield wiper or a rock, you don't want to activate your windshield wiper unless it's an emergency. Yeah. And drag that leaf over your windshield or your windshield protection film and then scratch the film. So what we say is, when you look at product longevity, assuming you maintain the film and you don't abuse it, you don't subject it to high pressure car washes. But if you maintain the film, really what's going to make the film prematurely wear would most likely be wiper haze. And that's simply because your wipers are not always clean. They're going to drag dirt across the film. It goes like this with a piece of dirt on it. And before you know it, you scratch the film. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the film's trashed. The maintenance wipes can help restore some of the optical clarity. Obviously, a deep enough or a big enough scratch, that may not be healed. And certainly, if visibility is ever compromised, you want to immediately remove the film. You never want to drive with the inability to properly see. But if you have this discussion with your end user so that the end user understands what he or she is getting and not getting, you'll find that most end users will be open to the idea. And this is true in our personal lives. I mean, how many things do you buy as a consumer that, if properly explained to you and your expectations are set, you recognize if there's anything that goes wrong, but you were expecting it to go wrong because it was explained to you before the purchase, you accept it and say, well, you know what? The product performed the way I wanted it to perform. I knew this was going to happen. So ongoing maintenance is important with like the wipes. Always try to wash the car with something soft. Don't use anything abrasive on the film. Make sure you stay away from high pressure car washes.
Is that because the sides might lift or something like that?
Yeah. You don't want to put anything that's got a lot of pressure on it that could eat away at the clear coat of the film either. Especially when sometimes these high pressure car washes have, such a small angle and the spray is really concentrated. And, in some cases it can even damage paint, right? So it'll certainly damage the clear coat of the film. In addition, UV can wear out film too. And so, maybe you park your car in the garage instead of on the street, or you park it under a tree. Of course, there's, other, disadvantages of parking under a tree like sap and things like that. But the point is I do think it requires good explanations to the end user as to what the film is and what the film isn't.
I'm just laughing at a comment about the wipers, but so what is the right question or right answer to the question that everyone's going to probably encounter right away the first time they pitch this? The customer is going to say, well, how long is it going to last? Because you're going to go into the reason, and the customer, well, how long is it going to last? What is what is the right response to how long is it going to last?
So I think there are two ways to look at this. I look at it and say, how long is the film itself, the urethane or the PET, going to last? Let's take away the element of wear and tear or use or things like that. Not that that's realistic to do, but let's look at it first just by the film itself. You've got film that's now installed on the outside. Okay, so film installed on the outside never wears as long as film installed on the inside. We just know that to be true. So for example, with windshield skin, life expectancy of the film itself is up to 5 years. Now that assumes that you maintain the product properly. And I don't think the maintenance regimen is anything out of the ordinary. But what that doesn't include are what I think things that do happen and do go wrong, right? So for example, wiper haze, that can damage the film. And again, if you lose the ability to see through the film and drive the vehicle and operate it safely, remove the film. You could also have a rock actually hit the film, and the film protects the glass and prevents it from cracking, but it could certainly create some optical issues with the film. At that point, the film did its job, so you probably want to remove it and replace it. So I think the film itself can last up to 5 years with proper maintenance. But if you do consider the fact that you're going to be driving your vehicle, I tell people a daily driver should last up to 12 months. Now, I can tell you that on our own personal vehicles, our test vehicles that we have at EPD, we've had very good success with it, but we maintain it. We do all the maintenance that's suggested from Bray Group's, the manufacturer of windshield skin. If you don't do those things and you have unrealistic expectations, I think you're going to be disappointed by the longevity of the film. And nobody should be saying, no manufacturer or no distributor in my shoes should ever be saying this film is for sure going to last 5 years or 10 years, right? It's not feasible to say that. The film itself should last up to 5 years. These are high quality films, whether you're talking about windshield skins, PET film, or their urethane film. There are other manufacturers out there that have high quality films. They're not inexpensive films, but you're putting them on the outside, and that changes the entire game.
Okay. So I would imagine the way it's going is they want to protect. I mean, I don't know. I guess in my head, I do the math. I try to do the math and go, okay, so how much is the film? And then how often do I have to replace it? And then, what does that get me as far as how many times could I have replaced the windshield for that same thing? And if you start with the film can last up to 5 years. However, if you're using it as a daily driver, you might experience wanting to replace it every year. It's going to depend on how you maintain it, the exposure it gets. But ultimately, if it's going bad, it's mainly because it's doing its job or it's facing the weather and so on, right? I mean, is that kind of, because if you're backing them out from 5 years and you're telling me, look, it could be up to 5, but it's going to be based on how I maintain it and what I expose it to. And then I understand that if I don't maintain it, and it gets hazy, or if I start to see wiper marks, that doesn't mean the film's bad. It's just wiper marks because that's part of the aging process. Would you say that's a fair way to, that's the concept of managing those customers' expectations?
I think it's a great way. Yeah. I mean, I think you've got to be very open and transparent with the dealer has to be very open and transparent with the end user, just like I'm open and transparent with you here for the dealer's benefit, what it is and what it isn't. And, the value proposition really is there. I think it's easy for the dealer to just think it's not there for a couple reasons, and I'll explain. But 10 years ago, somebody might have thought, why would somebody driving a Toyota Camry ever want PPF installed on their vehicle? Well, we know that they do. So everybody takes care of their car differently. Somebody with a Toyota Camry may take better care of their car than somebody with a Lamborghini, as weird as that may sound, right? So price points don't necessarily dictate what somebody's willing to do in terms of the ongoing maintenance. Your baby's your baby. If the Camry's your baby, great. And if that's explained by the dealer to the end user, I think you'll find that a dealer will an end user will say, oh, I just got my car washed, so let me use that maintenance wipe on the windshield skin right now. Let me make sure that, I don't have any leaves stuck under my windshield wipers before I start my car while it's raining and have to potentially operate my windshield wipers and drag a leaf across the film. I think I think a lot of end users will actually go through that trouble. I mean, we've seen them do that because we've seen the sales of this material to dealers who are ultimately selling it to end users, and the growth for us has been hockey stick like. And I think in addition to a dealer sort of understanding the value proposition, the economics involved, along with the expectations involved, I think something else a dealer needs to consider when looking at this product line is to say, well, what really is the value proposition? Because an end user could take their car to a Safe Light and have the insurance company replace the windshield for free. And in fact, some states even require the insurance company to provide a free windshield replacement at least once a year. And so therefore, the dealer, as well as the end user, doesn't see the cost benefit or the economic value proposition. And that's fair. That's fair. But I also think, and I've actually heard this in full disclosure, I heard this from a competitive windshield protection film manufacturer who I interviewed for an article in Window Film Magazine. So as a writer of that article, I stepped out of my windshield skin shoes and was more objective in my approach and interviewed some competitors. And one of the competitors said, we're now seeing where insurance companies operating in states that require a free windshield replacement per year are either substantially increasing the premium on the customers that are making the claim or downright denying coverage the next year. And that's because the windshield replacement costs are no longer $200, $300, or $400. They're $2,000. And an insurance company doesn't want to be on the hook by the state and mandated to provide a $2,000 claim to someone that makes it every year because they probably drive the same way to work every day, and it's in a construction zone, and they can count on at least one broken windshield each year. So there's definitely some learning, I think, with the dealer in understanding what the economic value proposition is so that it can be properly explained to the end user so that the end user gives the product some serious consideration when they're getting their car tinted or film installed for PPF.
Maverick made a comment and said maybe offer new blades as a package deal, free wiper blades. So
yeah,
I really like that. Obviously, that's a
idea.
great idea, Maverick. And would it be fair to say almost like you could package this in, maybe like mention the prep that goes involved as kind of part of what you're offering? Because, if you have like a dirty windshield, like my windshield's not the cleanest. And if you're telling me, well, I'm going to have to like clay your glass and really get all the particles and decontaminate it, then we're going to apply the film, and then we're also going to place your wipers. That's free of charge. So you're going to be leaving here. It could feel more of like a, how do you value free wipers? It could be $50, it could be $40, it could be $80 in your head. It's happening.
Yeah.
Have you seen dealers doing that sort of package?
Yeah, in fact, Maverick, great point there. We have seen that, albeit on a limited basis. But Eric, I think you bring up an interesting point. The beauty of this product is that it's an annuity for the dealer. It keeps the end user coming back in for replacement, not because the product failed, but because the product does have a lifespan. And at some point at the end of the lifespan, the product has to be replaced. Hey, look, refrigerators have lifespans. So there's nothing unusual about the fact that windshield protection film has a lifespan. What it does is it brings the customer back in to get replacement. And to your point, Eric, you could offer some sort of windshield restoration package. Clean the glass, remove the old film, clean the glass really well, reapply new film, and offer some free wiper blades. Because, a a lot of times the average driver doesn't get their wiper blades replaced until they go to the dealership for something. And then the dealership upsells them an expensive wiper package where, if the end user did it themselves, they probably pay $20 a blade, but the dealership's probably charging $75 a blade. You come in as part of a package charging $30 a blade, whatever the case might be, along with, like you said, Eric, clay bar, really clean that windshield really well, and then apply a new layer of windshield skin, along with the maintenance wipes. So the maintenance wipes, that windshield skin has specially formulated for its films, its urethane and PET films. The end user can come back into your shop to buy new wipes. So that brings them in. That brings them in to sell them a windshield restoration package, like you suggested, Eric. It brings them in maybe to sell them a new tint job, to do a ceramic coating, right? So I call it an annuity because this product brings people back in the shop for more.
How much are the wipes approximately first to buy?
That's a great question. The wipes are not expensive at all. And we sell them in different packs, like 1-pack, 4-pack, 8-pack, 16-packs. They're a couple bucks.
To your point of
they're
like
really worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, to your point of getting a reason to get customers to come back in, like it just sounds like one of those things like that you could say, like we include a year worth of wipes for free, and a year worth is probably 12 or 6 because you're washing your car maybe once a month or something like that, like, or whatever it is. Like it just sounds like one of those value props that like they're not going to attach a certain dollar amount, but it's just like another reason to go with it.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I think you and Maverick gave some really creative ideas there, because I do think that this film sells itself independent of sort of the annuity package or the, kind of what you were describing. I think what you described makes the sale even more convincing, as well as provides the dealer with the ability to bring that customer back and cross-sell something that has nothing to do with the windshield, like a ceramic coating. So windshield protection film is profitable in and of itself. Windshield protection film brings the customer coming back for more windshield protection film. And when that customer comes back, that customer is now a captive audience to sell, I don't know, maybe a stripe of color PPF down the hood. So, it just brings people coming back. And when you look at where we are right now, we're almost at December, right? So most of this country's going into colder temperatures. It becomes the slow season for this business. Spending may be, taken back a little bit. People have certainly been saying that in an election year. Walk-in traffic is lower than it was, earlier this year or last year. At least that's what I'm hearing from a lot of our dealers. And so you want to make the most out of every customer interaction. Windshield protection film is that mechanism. And again, I'm not making a claim that 10 out of 10 customers will want it when you properly sell it to them. But if you properly sell it to them, I'm seeing where 2, 3, 4 customers out of 10 will want it. And it's so profitable that there's 2, 3, or 4 customers out of 10 that want it. Those profits add up, because this is $300 in profit before labor and overhead and things like that. I want to be really clear, for 20 minutes worth of work. Tell me what other film product offers you that kind of profitability for that kind of dollar. In fact, Eric, I say to people, you're kind of approaching high power attorney salaries there. You hear an attorney who says, well, I charge $500 an hour, $750 an hour, $1,000 an hour, right? You think, wow, that's a powerful attorney. That's what you're talking about here. $300 for 20 minutes worth of work. That's $900 an hour. That's lawyer money. That's doctor money. And it's so easy to install. And your captive audience is right there walking through your door every day.
And especially now that I feel like, as you said, the technology in the windshields makes a reason for it and increases the need for it. But then even just like as now you have all the manufacturers, not all, but like a lot of manufacturers offering a windshield protective film, that's going to bring more awareness to the market. And where I'm going with that is most tint jobs, most PPF jobs, most wrap jobs are being sold because the customer had an awareness of it, they wanted it, and they approached the shop and asked for it. And this is an opportunity that kind of you mentioned earlier turns that on its head, because it's no longer like, hey, I want tint, I need you to install it because you're the master at installation, and that person saying, well, I can do it, and so on. It kind of changes it on its head, and it says, well, most people aren't going to be aware this exists, and the installation isn't the hard part. This, like you said, is more of, now you have to build that awareness. You're going to have to be proactive on it, and you're going to have to implement probably potentially better sales skills than maybe have been required to sell tinted PPF and vinyl wrap. And the reason I throw in vinyl wrap is because Robert Foster brought up a good point of, it's not like when it comes to building expectations on the maintenance, he brought up, it's very similar to vinyl wrap, and it is. And when you think about vinyl wrap, we're not even talking about full color changes. Anybody who's done maybe a matte or satin roof or hood, even just that one piece, like you had to advise your customer the maintenance on that, because if not, like if they treat that matte vinyl as paint, they're going to be quickly, discover how it stains differently, and like you want to get sap off of it quicker, and like bird poop off of it quicker, and so on. So this is kind of similar, and I guess where I'm going with it is, it really is a sales opportunity if you're up to the challenge of being consistent, offering it to everybody without that prejudgment of who's going to say yes or not, and just going through that process of, this is the film, this is what it does, this is, and these are expectations, and letting the numbers work themselves out. Because in sales, truly, like, to me, that's the skeleton of sales, like the foundation, the framework is you have to have a script, you have to have a method, a process, and then you kind of follow it and do it at scale. And with something new, I think it's easy potentially to go, I really like the installation, I really want to sell it, but maybe not actually follow through with that offering, like you said, of setting up the showroom to pique people's interest when they're waiting, and to have those tools to display it, and then running through that upsell every time somebody meets that qualification.
I would say this. I would say, the successful dealers did not come out of the womb knowing how to install tint or PPF or sell tint or PPF. They had to learn it. And they gave it the time and the energy to learn, and it paid dividends. There are a lot of successful people out there in this industry. This is just, to me, the next tint or PPF. If you give it the time to learn about it, to sell it, to set customer expectations, you'll be successful with it, because unlike tint or PPF, the challenging part's not the labor piece. And it is a challenge to sell PPF and tint, especially years ago when awareness was low. And that's where we are with windshield protection film in terms of awareness. And so this product category deserves the investment in time from the dealer, because it is so profitable. It deserves the attention. And it also deserves the merchandising in the showroom. I know that most dealers have a showroom outfitted with the appropriate displays and boards and interactive demos to showcase tint and PPF. And the same has to be done for windshield protection film. And Windshield Skin has a great dealer program, just like tint and PPF manufacturers have dealer programs. Windshield Skin has a great dealer program that allows the dealer to outfit their showroom with really nice point of purchase displays that aren't that expensive, that do educate the consumer about the product, that create the conversation among the dealer or the dealer salesperson and the end user. And it deserves that kind of attention versus just a dealer casually saying, without any kind of merchandising or in an ad hoc way, saying, when I get an exotic car in my shop for PPF, I'll actually pitch windshield protection film. Merchandise your showroom, pitch it every time, and see what happens. You'll see the success if you pitch it properly. And again, the success to me is not necessarily based on the percentage of customers that walk through the door looking for tint or PPF that actually get windshield protection film. To me, the success is going to be the dollars you put in your pocket, because with a 20% take rate, You're still putting a lot of dollars in your pocket each week. I mean, I think we said 50 cars. What's that? 3,000. 3,000 a week. I mean, that adds up. That adds up. 10 cars at $300 a piece in profit, again, before labor and overhead. 3,000 a week. Say you take 2 weeks off, 50 weeks a year, $150,000. Who doesn't want to make another $150,000 and put it in their pocket or their company's, checkbook?
And truly, like, some of the standout reasons, just to emphasize, when you say, like, who doesn't, it's especially when the labor isn't highly skilled labor. It's labor that
Right.
probably everyone in everyone's shop that has installed any film is well capable of doing. It doesn't require any additional tools, and it doesn't require necessarily a unique customer. It's an upsell, so your cost of acquisition for the customer isn't there, which can easily be 10 to 30% cost of acquisition, depending on how that goes. There could be nothing if it's all referrals, but either way, you don't have to have another set of feet in that door. It's the same set of feet that are already there.
That's exactly right. That's why, to me, this is such low-hanging fruit, especially because we always look for upsells. What are examples of upsells? An upsell to PPF might be a ceramic coating job. An upsell to tint might be, I don't know, a no scratch warranty. We're always trying to figure out, how do we make more out of every customer touch point? This is just another bullet for your gun for 20 minutes worth of installation. That's more profitable, I think, than most. But again, it just requires the dealer to make the investment, not in money, right? The investment in money is negligible. It's the investment in time and understanding, and have an open mind. Recognize that windshields are no longer inexpensive. Recognize that you can set the expectations properly with a customer, so that if the film were to last only 12 months, the customer should not come back to you disappointed, because you properly explained, look, it can last up to 5 years, but that includes, maybe the car is mostly garaged. Maybe you're always putting a maintenance wipe on it. Maybe the car never really sits out in the sun. Maybe it never sees the rain, so you don't use your windshield wipers. But for a daily driver, we typically say up to 12 months, because again, you are talking about a high quality piece of urethane. This is not some inexpensive urethane that we're just saying, oh, we're going to call it windshield protection film. Braid Group, the manufacturer of windshield skin, has dedicated about almost 20 years of research, of testing, to its PET films, to its urethane films, to have the confidence to sell these products and provide a 12-month warranty. Now, not all windshield protection films on the market carry a warranty. Windshield skin does. It carries a 12-month warranty. Now, it doesn't include, that warranty doesn't cover any kind of negligence or misuse or things like wiper haze. It would cover if the urethane were to, I don't know, yellow or blister, or, whatever the case might be, typical urethane problems. And so Braid Group has the confidence in its windshield skin. And there are other manufacturers out there that have dedicated the time and the resources to testing their products and offer a high quality product as well. But then there are some that are marketed as windshield protection films. I don't know that they're not some just inexpensive piece of urethane that somebody said, let's call it a windshield protection film, and there's no warranty on it, but let's take advantage of the rising demand for it, and let's offer it a lower price and be more competitive and take market share away from some of the more established windshield protection film manufacturers. Windshield Skin is focused on having a dealer program, offering POP, offering POS materials, the appropriate training to the dealer so that the dealer understands what the film is and isn't, so that the dealer can set expectations with their customers, the ongoing care package with the maintenance wipes and things like that. And again, the maintenance wipes are specially formulated, along with It is a very, very, very diverse array of product offerings. Windshield Skin offers PET. Windshield Skin offers urethane. So it's like 5 different lines of film. So they offer 3 different lines of PET, a 1-layer film, a 2-layer film, and a 3-layer film. So like, you know, if the top layer gets compromised, you peel off the top layer and you expose a new layer so that the end user can do that on their own. And then on the urethane side, they offer an 8 mil urethane and now a 12 mil urethane for even greater impact protection. And so what I think any dealer should do when looking at bringing on a new product or service into their business, get all the details, shop around a little bit, but certainly look at Windshield Skin and the dealer program that we offer, because we're the distributor for the EPD is the Windshield Skin distributor for the Tint and PPF channel out there. And recognize that we're there marketing this product because we believe in it and know that this thing is so lucrative and profitable to the people that you and I deal with, Eric, on a daily basis.
So something to throw in there is make sure if you're going to be offering it to your customer, you have it on your vehicle, because you're going to get asked, like, do you have it on your vehicle? And then being able to walk them out to your vehicle, or you mentioning, I have it on my vehicle. If there's concerns about longevity, you can say, well, I have it on my vehicle for the last 6 months. You want to go take a look at it? This is what it looks like, or whatnot. But like, have it on your vehicle. It's the best way to sell anything. If you're selling PPF and you don't have it on your vehicle, that says a lot. If you're selling window tint, you don't have tint. So just, it's one of those things, have it on your vehicle and be armed for it. And like, I can't help but think how a lot of the sales, if I was guessing, not have to be, but I just imagine, like, you know, when I used to go to car shows on the weekends, like whether they were model specific, like, you know, like Corvette car clubs and things like that, like you go and like you're always rallying somewhere, either meeting up to drive together to that car show or some sort of rally, but like driving is a big part of car shows, even if it's the drive there. And like typically, like, if you're going to those events with those type of cars, your mindset is like not getting rock chips on your windshield. And everybody knows what it sounds like when you're going on these cruises and like stones start hitting your vehicle. So if you're, you know, I guess it's an obvious maybe way to sell tint, PPF, as we know, but also windshield skin. But I guess it rings especially true to me as like a car guy, because if you're looking for ways to market your business, that can come together in a way that you actually enjoy. Your family can be part of it, but showing up to those car shows and showing up to those like rallies and being able to mention the products that you have on your vehicle and that you install on a daily basis is a great way to generate some business in a far way if you're into cars, in a fun way if you're into cars.
You know? Yeah, you're spot on, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, yeah, you know, for sure, any dealer should install windshield skin, get a handle on it, and feel comfortable offering it. And a great way to do that is to put it on their own car. Probably they've done the same with their tint and PPF. When you talk about things like rallies and so on and so forth, Bray Group, sort of the corporate parent to Windshield Skin, again, they've been in the windshield protection film market for many, many, many years. I mean, dating back to the original, you know, dating back to its infancy. They have promoted the product category of windshield protection film, as well as their own product, Windshield Skin, by marketing this product to different rallies and things like that. Cars that are going to be driven where the product can be put to the test, where that $20,000 windshield or that $50,000 windshield that's being driven through dirt roads just because the owner wants to have some fun on a weekend, but doesn't want a broken windshield. That's where this product has been tested and come into play. And, you know, when you look at how does the film perform, or how does any windshield protection film perform, it performs by absorbing the energy from whatever is incoming. Now, that's not to say that it's going to prevent cracking windshield if a brick hits it. We know that no film's going to do that, right? But, you know, when you kind of look at most road rash and stones and pebbles and things that typically hit our windshield that cause them to crack, you know, windshield protection film absorbs that energy and kind of dissipates it over the entire surface area of the windshield so that it's not concentrated in one particular place that would force a crack. So this product, Windshield Skin's really been put to the test. And I suspect some of the other windshield protection films on the market have too. But yeah, what I like is this notion, Eric, that you present of testing the product out. And what's really cool now is Windshield Skin's new 12 mil film, right? So again, if you go back to what I said earlier, mil for mil, a PET will offer better impact protection than urethane, mil for mil. So that's why you might find a PET film that's 4 mils thick, but a urethane film that's 8 mils thick. Some aren't even 8 mils thick, but Windshield Skin's minimum thickness is 8 mils. Some urethane films are only 6 mils. They're not even 8. But now Windshield Skin has said, hey, we're going to take it to another level in terms of our impact protection on our urethane by offering now 12 mils. And the optical clarity of their 12 mil film is so close to their 8 mil film, even though it's 1.5 times the thickness. That's how high grade this product or this urethane is from Windshield Skin. Again, it's not some just urethane off the shelf here. This is urethane specifically blended for windshield protection, not for paint protection, but windshield protection, recognizing you have to look through the windshield in order to safely operate your vehicle.
So as you're saying that, I thought of a fun way to market this if you were just getting into selling it. And what I imagined is, you could essentially, if you're a shop owner, who isn't looking for content for social media? Like everybody's essentially looking for something to post. So what came to my mind was you could potentially introduce this to your current following and say, hey, this is a new product we're carrying. I'm installing it on my personal vehicle, and start filming yourself on the way to work, getting behind trucks and kicking up rocks into your windshield. And you can continue to show the progress week after week of like damaging situations, but like you could tell that story like, hey, this is a new product, this is its purpose, and I'm putting it on my personal vehicle, and I'm going to keep everyone updated on how this goes. And like that gives you something to continuously, it gives you a story to tell. And then you can say, if you'd like to see how the windshield held up after today's whatever happens, come by the shop or whatever. And like people will start to get to know you for your windshield, for your film, I feel like for the production, because other people are something you relate to. Like if you're watching somebody driving behind a truck and seeing pebbles smack their windshield, it's both funny, you want to see if something horrible is going to happen, and it's absolutely relatable. And it's how you could tell the story, as opposed to maybe going into just like, hey, new product for sale today, which nothing wrong with that too. And also I feel like if a TRX or like a Raptor come into your shop, I feel like every single Ram TRX, you could go, you ever going to take it off road, do you think? And they're going to be like, maybe I might take it, sometime. You'd be like, well, these windshields, and you should know exactly the cost X amount of money and are currently on back order, or usually take this amount of time to get, if that applies. And if you're like super skilled with that, we know it because it happens all the time. And then we end up putting this windshield film to help protect it from the next. That's maybe also another way to bridge that conversation without feeling like you're just like, I don't know, like without hesitation, because it should feel natural when those are realities. Right?
I think that's a great point. I mean, I know you're a creative guy, so I hadn't actually thought about, sort of doing that social media potential campaign where you're doing a daily driver and you're taking videos throughout the course of a year to kind of show how the film performs and how it lasts. So I'm actually I'm going to take that one back with me and actually do that, because that's a great way to market the product.
You wouldn't want to watch the chaos you're getting your car into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think people would be very impressed by how the product performs. And I also think you bring up another point, which I hadn't touched upon, but it's very important, is supply chain. You mentioned that Ram, where the windshield might be on back order. Yeah, windshields go on back order. And so when you've got a cracked windshield, do you really want to wait 3 months to have it replaced? Especially if a crack's big enough, in many jurisdictions, you might risk a ticket. So, I do think that's something that's very important to touch upon, which is just because you need a windshield replaced doesn't mean the dealer or Safelite has it there. And I also do want to touch upon again this notion of, do you want aftermarket glass installed in your vehicle that relies so heavily on the original windshield for all these ADAS systems, whether it's lane departure, whether it's collision, whether it's, automatic pilot like Tesla or Cadillac offers with Super Cruise? I know I don't. I know that personally, and I'm not saying this because it's self-serving, but when I started understanding the difference between factory windshields and aftermarket windshields that come from overseas, and I learned them as a result of becoming a windshield skin distributor, I said, never again am I ever going to get aftermarket glass. I'm just not. And that's even before the reliance on ADAS systems. Now that we do rely on ADAS systems, I certainly don't want aftermarket glass. A little story that I think I might have shared with you in the past, but I don't know that I've shared it publicly, is when I was first approached by Bray Group to distribute windshield skin. This was many years back. I really didn't understand initially the product category because it was still kind of not well known. I saw the opportunity. I saw the fit. I believed in the product. But I was just not sure about the installation of it. And that was when there was only PET available. I said to myself, wow, I really believe in the product. I believe it works. I believe that it's going to be profitable for the installer, but what's the ability for an installer to shrink PET on a windshield? That was the part I just wasn't sure about. And so I was kind of looking for a sign. Should I really pursue this? So I kid you not, the same day that I met with the Bray Group folks, I got a cracked windshield. The same day.
Now, did you see it get cracked, or was it when it was parked?
Well, this is the strange thing. It was weird circumstances. I was just driving in a small little housing development to see my mom, and it was during the warmer months. So the landscapers were out, weed whacking the grass, cutting the grass. And as I'm driving past one of them, I guess the weed whacker hit a rock. I could see it come at my windshield, and it cracked my windshield. And I had this car at the time for 5 years, never had a cracked windshield. Got the windshield. I got the crack in the windshield after learning from the Bray Group about the difference between factory glass and aftermarket glass. I went to Safelite. I insisted on factory glass, paid for it because it's more. Had the car recalibrated, picked up the car. I kid you not. Before I had a chance to get windshield skin installed, the next day, I got another crack.
Wow.
So at that point, I said, this is a sign.
Yeah.
I am meant to go distribute windshield skin. And I haven't looked back since. And what made it even better was Bray Group's introduction of the urethane windshield skin, which they call Super Stretch, which is 8 mils and now 12 mils. And now that's what makes it easier to install in 20 minutes or less, actually. So that's why you see a lot of marketing activity from EPD focused on our 3M portfolio, but also focused on our windshield skin portfolio, simply because there is so much runway for this windshield skin product. And now's the time to really jump on the bandwagon and devote yourself to picking up windshield protection film and offering it in your business if you think it's a good fit, only after understanding the product, the pros and cons, making sure you understand what it is and isn't. But if you're looking to scale your business, and most people are, this is an easy way to scale your business. It just really is. And that's why we believe in it.
I think, a couple things there, like you said, now's the time. What can happen if you just do tint and you don't do this, you're missing an opportunity. Fine. But if you're one of kind of those services that are trying to, like, not trying, but like kind of doing a more like full service thing where you offer tint, PPF, and coatings. So you're trying to kind of do that one-stop shop. If you're not offering windshield protection film, I feel like moving forward, given now like what feels like based on SEMA, kind of a shift in the industry, you're going to get that request. I feel like just as what drew PPF into a lot of tint shops and tint into a lot of PPF shops and detailers into both of them was getting that Tesla customer or that BMW or Corvette. They want the whole package. They want a quote for all of it. And you don't want to be the shop saying, well, I don't offer that one service, because they may go somewhere else simply because they want that total package. They want to bring it to one place and have it all done and not bring it to you for one part and the other one. So when you say that, I do really think, I think you're very accurate with now's the time to get into it, because you want to be ahead of things. Like there's always opportunities, right? And like the opportunity always exists for the first mover. That always exists. And first movers, depending on how you zoom out, how far you zoom out, the first movers in different categories. So you always can kind of, not always, but the opportunity is there, and it is staying ahead and trying to pick the right products, the ones that are going to go somewhere, learning them, becoming the best at it, becoming known at them. And over time, it becomes one of the offerings and something else comes into effect.
Yeah.
For people that want to learn this better, so your website is epdwindowfilm.com. Window film or films?
Windowfilm.com. And I think windowfilms.com actually redirects, but we have on our website, if you hover over the section that says automotive dealers, there's a link to become a windshield skin dealer application. You just fill out the application, and that starts the process of becoming a windshield skin dealer. And we put that up there simply because we've got a lot of people who've been filling out applications. We hop on it right away. If you hover over automotive dealers and become a windshield skin dealer, you just click that link and there's an application there. You fill it out. It comes into us. We hop on it right away. We'll get in touch with you right away. We'll give you the elevator pitch for it if you need it. We'll go over things with you.
This one's not mandatory. I'm just saying. So
what's that?
Nothing. I said this one's not mandatory. That do you need have a business license? Isn't mandatory. So skip it if you don't have a business license.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things is I think it probably should be mandatory. I think I probably need to update that. But when this application will be handled right away with our team here. And we'll get in touch with you because, it's so easy to get into the windshield skin dealer program. We want to make sure that you understand the product. We want to go over what it is and what it isn't. We want to make sure we educate you before, we wind you up and let you loose, because we want you to make money. And I want to touch just really quickly, Eric, on a great point that you made before showing the website. And that is to say, if you don't jump on the bandwagon now, you're right. You may start losing your core business to your competition across the street because they are offering windshield protection film and you're not. So you may start losing tint jobs. You may start losing PPF jobs for the customer that wants one-stop shopping. I think that's a completely great point that you bring up. And
you want to be the shop that's offering new things. If you're trying to establish yourself in the area, and be like ahead, and like those are things you want to get ahead of. You want to feel in control of. Those are things that make you feel powerful in a company and give you more of a steering wheel and a gas pedal than if you're just kind of reactive and you're always kind of on the tail end of things. Even just establishing that relationship in your area, depending on I don't know if how the dealer network works, but don't you want to be the one establishing the product or establishing that relationship to get the product? Can anybody buy it? Are there restrictions in territories?
Yeah, good question. So right now, as it stands, anybody in the Tint and PPF channel can purchase it, and you can actually purchase it from us online on our online store. But if you become a dealer, and there really it's very easy to become a dealer. I want to be really clear, and there's no reason not to become a dealer. But if you become a dealer, you get a 10% discount on the material. You also get listed on our dealer locator. So if you go to our, I don't know if it's possible, Eric, just to go to our website again, I can refer your listeners to, if you click the shop button in the upper right-hand corner.
So up here on the upper right.
That'll take you to our online store. And if you click windshield skin up at the top there.
Right here.
Yeah. Now you'll all of a sudden, boom, there's the film to buy. We offer bulk rolls in 48-inch width by either 25 feet or 50 feet. We also offer what we call uni kits or universal kits. That's a great way to test the product out. That's the 12 mil product at $450. The 8 mil uni kit is $250. Those are the regular prices. Those are the non-dealer prices. You actually save 10% when you become a dealer. And when you become a dealer, you can get dealer pricing from our website. But we actually call this uni kit. It's a great way to test the product out because you can buy about 66 inches of material. Check it out, see how easy it is to install, put it on your car, see what it is, see what it isn't. But also, you know, if you don't want to inventory a full roll, which is either 25 feet or 50 feet, or you just want to buy material as customers come in, a uni kit's great. And we even offer display stands like you see there that the uni kits come in tubes. That display stand is specially made to stack the tubes in. And it serves as a great talking piece. So you put that stand in your showroom. It holds, I think, 12 tubes. You put the tubes in the stand. It's a visually appealing piece. The end user sitting there in your showroom sees it and starts playing around with it, wondering what it is. So in addition to banners, which we have, the stands and things like that, Bray Group is about to introduce, I believe it might come before December 1st, a whole new round of point of purchase displays, which I saw earlier this week, and they're dynamite. Really cool stuff because they're committed to this dealer program. We want dealers. We don't want people just buying this product from us at regular price. We want we want shops becoming dealers, getting the education that we offer, getting the 10% discount, buying the maintenance wipes, outfitting their showroom, understanding how to sell it to their customers. Because you know what? The more successful they are, obviously, the more film they'll buy from us. That's what we're looking for. And all while the dealer is making a lot of money for 20 minutes worth of work.
So speaking about training, you have EPD University, right? Which is training.
Correct.
In person and online, or just in person?
Yeah, so EPD University is sort of this brand identity we created to represent training. Now, most people, when they think of training, they think of installation training. So EPD University is installation training. Now, to be clear, Bray or Windshield Skin Super Stretch is so easy to install, it really doesn't require training. Again, we did this. We have a video on our YouTube channel where you can see us installing it blindfolded. That's how easy it is to install. But we can even walk you through the installation over the phone. That's how easy it is, if you even need that. But we also offer within EPD University sales, marketing, and technical training. Now, most people don't think of that when they think of training. They think just of installation. But we focus on sales, marketing, and technical because we want our dealers to be as sales savvy as they possibly can be. We think that there's a technical aspect of that they have to understand the technical nuances because, you know, many of the products that we sell, and keep in mind, we sell other automotive products and we sell architectural products, are technical in nature. And we want those representing our products to understand them so that they're more successful with them, so that they create a great buying experience with their customer. And in turn, that creates a great buying experience with us. So we offer all kinds of installation, sales, marketing, and technical training. Now, the sales, marketing, and technical training is typically done either face-to-face or virtually through pre-scheduled webinars. Or if someone comes and says, listen, I just want to learn as much as I possibly can about windshield skin. Do you mind if I take an hour of your time? Yeah, no problem. We've got the resources to say, let's meet tomorrow. Are you available at 1 p.m. Eastern? We'll do an hour webinar and I'll walk you through everything. So we offer a full variety of training, Eric, so that everybody is as educated as they possibly can be.
And then when you mentioned becoming a dealer, essentially you're becoming an EPD dealer and getting access to more than just Bray, or is it becoming a specific like Bray windshield skin dealer?
Oh, yeah, great question. No, this is a manufacturer dealer program. So the material gets bought from us, but what we're talking about is very similar to what we do with 3M Company, where you're a 3M dealer for, let's say, window film or paint protection film. In this case, we're talking about you're a windshield skin dealer through Bray Group. So the relationship and the contract that you sign is between you as the shop and the Bray Group as the manufacturer. But we are there supporting you. We're there. We're giving you the appropriate training. We work very closely with Bray Group. They're very marketing savvy. They are really committed to the Tint and PPF channel for this product line. And so we work hand in hand to increase the success of the shops out there. But we are kind of the sort of the first line of defense, if you will, to the Tint and PPF channel. So we'll provide all the training. We'll facilitate. We'll actually coordinate the dealer to sign the agreement, but Bray Group actually executes it. We will put you on our dealer locator so that we're sending business your way. When end users come to our shop, we have a great dealer locator. We'll make sure that you understand the product, what it is and what it isn't, so that you can set customer expectations. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for pulling it up, Eric. You'll see, we've got, you enter a zip code and you can see who our dealers are across the country. We put our dealers, the dealers that have signed the contract, and they get listed as a dealer. So if you haven't signed that contract, you're not, quote unquote, a windshield skin dealer. So there you go. Perfect example. You're bringing it up there.
Yeah, it is a quite coverage, like solid coverage for Southern California, in the sense like everybody's spaced out. If you know Southern California, from Newport to Long Beach is like, could be 2 hours, and from here to here could be an hour and a half and so on. So these are solid travel distances, but great coverage. And then on the left here, you see the level Bray authorized dealer.
Right.
And right here, Bray windshield.
Yeah, it's the product that they offer. So we spend, a good bit of money to make sure that our website is noticed for end users. In fact, the website you pulled up, Eric, is brand new as of last month. We haven't even officially announced it yet. And that's our store. But our website, we created a brand new website to replace our website with our previous website, which dated back to July of 2020. And for the very first time, EPD created a website that has content created for our customers and then their customers. So if you think about our website in two parts, there's a dealer part, our customers, and there's an end user part, our dealers' customers. The reason why we've always created website content for end users is because when end users want to buy windshield protection film, or they want to buy tint or PPF, we want them to go to Google and we want them to find us. Then we want them to locate an installer and go to our locator, which you just pulled up, and we want them to go to our customers. So we spend a lot of time to make sure our website gets noticed in Google so that we can drive leads to our dealers. And the beauty of the locators you just pulled up is it's all behind the scenes. Nobody from EPD is getting an email from an end user and then forwarding it to a dealer. The end user is clicking right to the dealer, so it's completely seamless.
Yeah, completely seamless. It's so important. Obviously, like when somebody looks up a product, what they find on it, and what the websites look like, and how they navigate, and the content they're able to find on it, and so on. So I really like hats off to you for such a strong investment, such a clean and well laid out website. And then from like the shop, I know the shop is separate, but I really like the shop as well because it's very organized and very simple. That's a very big part of business is the website and for everything.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate that coming from you because I have a ton of respect of everything that you've done with Tint Wiz. And so that means a lot because I know how much work it has taken us to create that site that we just launched last week, along with our online store. And Obviously there's development work, which, we don't do, but we have an external company that does that. But there's a lot of content creation. Somebody's got to write the content that you see on that page. And typically that falls on my shoulders. I spend a lot of time writing content, writing the same piece of content over and over again and changing things around for different audiences, including different types of keywords and things like that, all because I want to make sure that EPD's website shows up among all the different types of searches that an end user can perform in order to purchase a product that we ultimately are selling to a dealer who is then selling it to that end user, because we want to show our value to our customers by driving them leads.
And every tint shop should listen to what you just said and do the exact same thing for their tint shop. They should be spending time writing content, rewriting the same content over and over and over, so their website's found when their customers find them, and so on. Like, that is literally like it. Like, you're basically in two categories. I either want to be strong on social media, or I understand what Google can do still and what search is capable of, and so on. And you could do both, or you could do one or the other, but they're both awesome. And the one you said is the one most people don't do, no matter how many times it's said or whatnot. So the fact that you're doing it on like the product's behalf and on the dealer's behalf and on the network's behalf, and then you're taking that and rolling it into such a proper website and so on, like, I can't stress enough how much, how important that is for everyone.
Content creation can be an intimidating process for people. Writing is intimidating. I mean, I think that's why you have a lot of artificial intelligence that's now used to write things. It's not fun. I've been writing content for EPD as well as our customers, our dealers, for 20 years now. And doing it for 20 years, it doesn't get any easier, quite frankly, and it's exhausting, but it is so important and it pays dividends. And I encourage everybody to be doing it. Our dealers, dealers should be doing it because of the reasons you just explained. And it's hard, right? It's very hard to do. People don't like writing, and sometimes they're self-conscious of their writing. But for us, we put a lot of focus on it. We also put a lot of focus on our store's user experience. There's a lot of functionality of our online store that's not even public yet, because it's not ready to go public, because it's not where I want it to be in terms of user experience. And I've been tweaking the user experience since June, and it's still not ready, although we're kind of at the last stages of it becoming ready, to the point where our store can really be a very great tool for dealers, not just to order product, but to really educate themselves on the product. So we are going to get to the point where our store has the functionality that we're looking for, and it's going to continually change to suit our customers' needs better. And when you marry the store to our new website, which, as I said, is written not just for end users, but to our customers, I feel like we are giving our customers as much information as we possibly can so that they can run their businesses as effectively as they can and scale them, because that's what our goal is. The more they scale, the more film they buy. And that's what we're all about. We're about, what can we provide our dealers in order for them to make more money? And windshield skin is just kind of the latest and greatest concept to do that.
Ryan Wilcox asked, Manny, if you could talk a little more about, like you said, what it is and what it isn't. Could you discuss a little more about what it isn't?
Yeah, Ryan, good question. I mean, when I say what it is and what it isn't, what it is it's a product that is meant to mitigate the potential breaking of windshield from most road rash. It's not going to stop a windshield from cracking if you throw a brick at it. But the what it isn't really means it's not a set it and forget it product that you can just expect will look the same at year 10 as it did on day 1, right? It is a product installed on the outside, subject to outside elements that you have to look through. So maintaining the visibility and clarity of the product is paramount for your end user to operate their vehicle safely. So your expectations to the end user have to be clear for a couple reasons. One, you don't want that product to, let's say, need replacement in a year and a half, and the end user thought they were going to get 5 years out of it or 10 years out of it. So you want to be really clear. You want to be really clear that it requires ongoing maintenance to prolong the longevity of the product. You want to be really clear that if for any reason the product's visibility is compromised, remove the product so that the driver can operate the vehicle safely. We don't say that it's a product that is set it and forget it, that you just put on there and it's going to last for 10 years. We say that the urethane itself has a life expectancy of up to 5 years. But when we say that, we're talking about the urethane. We're not considering the wear and tear on the urethane. And the biggest culprit on the wear and tear is typically windshield wiper usage. So if you have a car that you never take out in the rain because it's an exotic, or you just don't want it to go in the rain, you're probably never using your wipers. You'll probably get a long period of time out of that windshield skin. 5 years, heck, you might get more. But if it's going on your daily driver, you're going to be driving in the rain. You're going to get caught in the rain at some point. You're going to have to use your windshield wipers. Let's hope you keep those wipers clean. Most people don't. And if you don't, and there's a little dirt or there's a leaf caught on there between the wiper and the film, and you have to use your wiper in order to see because it's raining, you might scratch your film. So those are the what it is and what it isn't. We want to be really clear that it's not this set it and forget it product that people associate with tint. People even associate set it and forget it with PPF, even though a lot of PPF does, most manufacturers say, hey, look, to prolong the lifespan, you should maintain it and do this. So it's just a little bit more maintenance required than PPF or tint because, again, it's clear, but it's installed on glass and you have to see through it in order to operate the vehicle safely.
And then there was a question about warranty as well, but Bray,
yeah, I'm happy to answer that.
Bray responded. I mean, the question was, how does the warranty work? And then Bray had said, we have a 1-year warranty. We see most dealers register the end consumer for their warranty at the time of the install, so we can work directly with the end consumer if there's any issues. So, a customer comes back to the shop and says, hey, I'm noticing XYZ. If it's something that falls within the warranty, which is essentially like, if there's a defect in the material, that would be handled directly, potentially with Bray.
Well, it comes through us, and we do some things on our end, but ultimately the warranty is provided by Bray Group, who chimed in here. But it is really crucial, and we talk through this point when someone becomes a dealer. It is crucial that the dealer or the end user registers their warranty right away. So if you install film on a customer's car today, register that warranty with Bray Group today. If you don't register it, if you don't register it within, I think it's 30 days. If you have a warranty issue down the road, Bray Group's got no record of that consumer. They have no way of knowing if that's their product. So it is so important from a warranty standpoint for the dealer to register the warranty. Now, the consumer can register too, but we like to suggest the dealer do it because the dealer's used to registering warranties for tint and PPF. So it's just a natural extension of what they're used to doing. But the great part about Bray Group's windshield skin is there's a real product warranty here. A lot of films on the market don't have warranties in place. So this is a unique warranty that Bray Group offers. And again, it's a 1-year product. It's a 1-year product warranty offered on the material.
And then Maverick asked if he could be mobile and potentially install all over. I mean, there's no restrictions on location, so yeah, right?
No, I mean, I think if you're mobile, though, you want to make sure you have an environment that's conducive to installing windshield protection film. As long as you have an environment that's conducive.
If somebody's tinting cars outside to begin with, and it's not bad, sometimes it's great. Is there a difference that you would say they need to prepare for?
Yeah, I think because you're putting this on the windshields, you want to make sure that you're really in a clean environment. You're not outside.
So mobile inside a garage, never outside would be a good.
I wouldn't suggest that. I think we always want to maintain the clarity, and we don't want the end user to ever have a sour taste in their mouth. I'd also say that, I think we do typically for our dealers, we do typically look for a dealer to have a business license, be a legitimate business and have brick and mortar. we like that brick and mortar. It allows us to showcase the product in the showroom with the POP and things like that. So we do like the notion of having our dealers with brick and mortar. Now, that doesn't mean you can't install the material mobily, but I think to really make the most of the product and scale your business the most, using this is a great vehicle to do that. It helps to showcase the product in your brick and mortar, but there's nothing that prevents you from installing this product in a mobily, as long as you're installing it in an environment conducive to the installation.
Not at truck stops?
Not at truck stops. Not if there's a lot of airborne particles. I think we all know that end users are critical of any film that's installed. They're going to be critical of anything you do to their car, more critical than when they bought the car, which is amazing to me. You plop down $60,000 for a brand new car, and you're not actually checking to see if the paint's flawless. You just assume it's flawless. But the moment you put PPF on the car, they got their magnifying glass out. They're finding flaws in your installation that are really flaws in the paint. So now you're basically saying, you're turning their alarms on. They're now thinking, well, geez, is this windshield protection film installation any good? Oh my God, there's a speck here. Well, that speck's there because you installed it on the outside. So certainly don't recommend that.
Imagine what the landscapers go through with all the rock chips that they're responsible for.
Yeah.
I mean, both homes and cars, you never know as a landscaper until it happens. And then you're probably getting blamed for ones you didn't do. You're probably doing ones that you didn't even know you did. What a mess that is.
I wish I'd had windshield scan on my car at the time, but it really is funny. I kid you not. It was the very same day. And that was the sign that said, I got to get on board with this product. And then I kid you not, after getting the windshield replaced, the next day, before I had a chance to put film in the car, I got it cracked. So it was a 5-year-old car that never had a crack in it, and I had 2 cracks in the span of a week.
The car that I told you I had bought, and then I'm driving it home, and I'm like, what's that on the windshield? And it was a crack they had repaired and then not disclosed to me.
Terrible.
After being furious and having it replaced with OEM glass at the dealership and so on, then I drove it unprotected. And at the time I lived in Palm Springs, and we would get like 50-mile-an-hour winds and sand. And that like totally etched the outside of my windshield with there's just, you see it in the sun basically. But like another reason why I wish I would have taken the first issue and put something on there, because I no longer live in the desert, but I still have the remnants of it. When it's sunny and it hits just at the right angle, you can see the damage from the sand.
It's one of those things that people can't appreciate until it happens to them. And it's similar in fact to, God forbid your house gets broken into. That's when you think about installing security film or an 100%. Alarm. But why go through the hassle of a break-in before you realize I should protect my home? And the same is true for a car. Why go through the hassle, inconvenience, and cost, by the way, of windshield replacement when you could prevent it with windshield skin? So, again, effective salespersonship from the tint and PPF dealer or salesperson that works for the dealer can help the end user really understand that this is a product that solves a problem. Most cases, it's a problem that people have had. I can't think of any driver who's driven more than 5 years that has never had a cracked windshield. Everyone's going to have it. So we all know the pain. The question gets to be, if you haven't had a crack recently, you don't know the real pain associated with these expensive windshields that incorporate all these ADAS technologies in them, the cost to replace the windshield, and the recalibration associated with it, and essentially taking the car off the road for a little while. And that assumes the windshield's in stock. And a lot of these windshields are on back order. So I say, why go through that? This is insurance. This is insurance, so I don't have to go through that. And if you educate me, if I'm the customer and you educate me that this is insurance, but you have to maintain the product, take these wipes, install it, wipe the film down every 6 to 8 car washes. Yeah, I'll do that because I don't want to deal with a broken windshield. I'm a car guy. Most people walking through the shops of our customers are car people. That's why they want their car tinted or filmed with PPF.
Do you see any dealers then like contracting with like any of your like dealers that purchase Bray, then contracting with car dealers to install it as preload or for a customer upsell maybe at dealerships? Is it going on brand new cars at dealerships at all or not really? And do you think that's an opportunity potentially to try and build that upsell with local dealerships?
Yeah, I think one of the, I think it's a little bit of a different business model than the aftermarket, which is, historically what we talk about. I think one of the unique aspects of Bray Group is that they understand that. And really being committed to the windshield protection industry by way of windshield protection film has different tools available for different channels. And so do I think that there's a market for car dealerships and brand new cars? Yeah, there is. There's a market for the end user that goes and buys a vehicle off the lot. There's a market for the loaner fleet. Do I think that there are dealers, authorized windshield skin dealers out there calling on car dealerships? While EPD doesn't promote them to do that, do I think they might be doing it? Sure. Do I think, Bray Group has a very unique understanding about that market? Yes. And I think that as the industry evolves, I think, you'll start to see maybe different types of sales tools and things like that at some point from Bray Group. And I only say that just knowing how innovative they are, not because we've, really discussed that or anything. EPD is really focused on the aftermarket. And by that, I mean, the tint shop, the PPF shop that has walk-in traffic coming into their store. So we're really focused on that. But do I think there's applicability with car dealerships and their new vehicles? Yeah. I mean, if there's applicability in the aftermarket for those cars are the same cars at dealerships. It's just at a different point in time. So if it's applicable in the aftermarket, sure, it's probably applicable from the moment you drive it off the lot.
Maverick asked if it would side windows are just the back of an SUV to prevent like smash and grab. Not really going to have a smash and grab safety effect. If anything, it might make it a cleaner removal, no, of the glass.
Well,
Take it all in
yeah,
a little bit.
So urethane is really difficult to tear apart.
Okay.
And, when you look at trying to hold broken glass in place in order to prevent a breached opening, a film can help do that. And it's the film's inability to tear apart that actually provides that level of protection. So while the product is not marketed as that, do I think a side benefit could be it makes it more difficult to breach an opening? Sure. Is it going to prevent it from somebody determined? No. And I don't think anybody has ever marketed any film as a guarantee, and you'll never see that. But
would it be fair, like if you're selling it to Model 3, there's a common thing with the back glass of the Model 3, people break that little corner window, and like one of the aftermarket solutions, this hideous piece of plastic people put over it, like a vented plastic. If you were selling somebody on their windshield, would it be worth mentioning, hey, we can also do those little triangle windows, and if somebody tries to break them, it can help a little bit? Or is that not a route you would suggest even opening your mouth?
That's a great question. To be frank, I've never really thought about windshield skin for side windows, and I would certainly invite, if Bray Group's still listening, to kind of chime in there maybe with an answer. I know that the product is marketed specifically for windshields. I do know that a side benefit of a urethane film is that it's very difficult to tear apart. The question gets to be, though, that when you put film to help prevent a breached opening, typically there's got to be something, though, that anchors that film piece of glass within the frame. And I don't know that you would necessarily have that. But could it provide some sort of incremental benefit? Potentially, but I don't know that I have enough understanding to know.
We need to put down 995 on all the windows.
Yeah, exactly. How hideous would that be? But yes, that's essentially where I'd be going with that, to say some sort of attachment would be relevant in at least in a typical flat glass environment. Yeah.
And last question. This was something I was touched on a little earlier, Ryan, if you want to go back and listen, but I want to ask it again anyway, because it's kind of a common one. I'm sure depending on location, especially like you touched on earlier, what's your rebuttal for people who say their insurance covers their glass?
Yeah, I mean, I think the rebuttal is to say, that's great. But what does that mean? Do you have a high deductible? Do you risk having your premium raised because you inserted a claim? Could you potentially be denied coverage upon renewal? How much is covered by your insurance? If it's just $400, but you've got a $3,000 windshield, what good is that? Does it cover recalibration? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So I think there's this lack of being informed by most consumers until they go through a windshield replacement claim, and a recent one at that, not one from 5 years ago, because the game's different with the sophisticated technologies embedded in the car and where the windshield takes place with the ADAS systems. So I think if you've had a modern claim, you'll realize that insurance policy doesn't dig you out of the hole like it might have 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You might have something out of pocket, or quite frankly, upon renewal, maybe the premium goes up, or maybe you're denied coverage. And I think those are things that a consumer should look at before just saying, I don't need windshield film.
It sounds like almost like a frequently asked questions wallboard would be just like
That's exactly right. Yeah.
For both sides, frankly, because there it is, frequently asked questions, because everyone's going to have the same questions, basically, right? And the question is if you know the answers well enough to transfer, to explain it to your customer well enough, so.
And, yeah. And that's where kind of the dealer, the windshield skin dealer program comes into play. So part of becoming a dealer with windshield skin is they have this, it's not a contract. It's not a contract, but it's a handbook that gets signed by the dealer and by Bray Group. What that does is it does formalize the relationship between the dealer and Bray Group so that the dealer is an authorized windshield skin dealer. But what it does is we go over it with the dealer, and in the handbook are answers to frequently asked questions. And that serves as the basis of the education that the dealer needs to be successful in selling to the end user. But again, it does go back to saying, look, a dealer still has to invest more time. You got to study the handbook. You got to make sure your employees or your salespeople understand it. Don't just assume that an end user is going to understand the value proposition. Don't just assume they're not going to understand the value proposition. And don't just pitch it to exotic cars. Don't just pitch it to Bugattis. Pitch it to everybody, because you know what? Someone's Camry is like somebody else's Bugatti. So we go over all of this in the introductory part of making someone a windshield skin dealer.
Very good. Yeah. Pitch to everybody. I really like that. That's so unbelievably important in sales and anything. And like, this just feels like such a exercise in that. For anybody who wants to, they loved everything about it, they need to actually take action and get started. Best way to do that is go to epdwindowfilm.com and you'll land over here.
Yeah.
And then you can go. Yeah, and then you can go to automotive dealers and you can come in to become a windshield skin dealer. And then all you have to do is fill out this form. And then from there, the ball is rolling in solving any questions, getting your discount on your order, and getting the support from EPD, wherever that you need to outfit your showroom and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope everybody who's interested goes there and fills out an application. And when I open up my email, I'll see a whole bunch come through, because it is really, I know this is going to sound corny, but not hopping on board the windshield skin train is costing a dealer money. Okay. Again, I'm very clear that not every end user is going to be a windshield protection film candidate. But I'm also very clear to say you've got a captive audience, and if you know how to sell it, you're going to have a good percentage of your walk-in traffic that wants the product installed. And because it's so profitable, the profits will add up. And that's why I say not hopping on the windshield skin bandwagon is probably costing you money. It's an easy way to scale your business. It's an easy way to increase your ticket price, especially as we get into colder months and your walk-in traffic may decrease. There's really no installation learning curve. Anybody who installs film can do it. I don't exaggerate when I say that. If they have trouble, we'll even walk you through it. They won't, though, because, again, we've installed this blindfolded just to show you how easy it is. You can go to our YouTube channel to see that. And so I say, if you're not on board the windshield skin bandwagon, it's costing you money, because windshield skin is unique. We've got the polyester film, we've got the urethane film, we've got 1-layer film, 2-layer film, 3-layer film. We've got 8mm film, we've got 12mm film. We've got a dealer program. We've got point of purchase display materials and point of sale display materials. We've got a warranty. We've got a dealer locator. We have great marketing. We've got the association of windshield skin among the car community as the go-to windshield protection film for a lot of these rallies where the cars are going to get torn up. So it's a great product, and now's the right time to get on board. It's just a great time to get on board with it.
Final question. Cody Becker, do they make a tinted version? Is that something? They don't make a tinted version
Hey,
now.
Cody, great question. No, on the urethane, no, it's clear, and that's, it's a clear film, and the reality is that, when you start tinting films like that, I think you kind of change the game a little bit with not putting something that's completely optically clear, especially with the ADAS systems. So no, the product is clear. The super stretch is clear. And again, that's 8 mils and 12 mils. And the clarity of the 12 mil is essentially the same as the clarity of the 8 mil film. That's how clear this stuff is. And I would like to say too, that windshield skin is available in Tint Wiz. So for those Tint Wiz users, and seeing Cody's name there made me think of this. For those of you who's Tint Wiz, windshield skin is in Tint Wiz, right, Eric? So people can pull it up.
Yeah, all you need to do is just select it on your proposal. So it's like preloaded in there. So if you're sending somebody a digital proposal, as you could include any other upsell in there, you should put, if you're carrying it, you should include that as an upsell. No question about it.
And I think all 5 windshield skin SKUs are in there. The 3 PETs and the 2 ATPUs.
Yeah. And, selling it like in person, we discussed selling it on a proposal is even easier in the sense, like you just put it in your CAM proposals for PPF. They're just like you would, an upsell of a windshield when you're selling them tint. It's an obvious upsell, like you said, especially when you're selling them PPF. If somebody's looking to cover all the paint on their car, they're going to skip the glass that's right in front of them that's taking a lot of the impact. It's the front bumper, it's the hood, it's the windshield, that's the front of the car.
Exactly
so
right.
It's a fairly obvious one, and definitely thank you for bringing up. It definitely through Tint Wiz is even better than having to upsell them in person, in the sense that you can pique their curiosity and they can select it before they even come in. They can sell themselves potentially on it.
Great point.
At least start the conversation, right? I saw that windshield protection film. What is it? Or tell me more about it, or so on.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And we're approaching 2 hours. Manny, being that, like we said, windshield protection film was a topic, such an enormous topic at SEMA, and you being such an authority on windshield protection films, I really appreciate you coming today, and I think providing 2 hours of, I feel like this is a cornerstone video on windshield protection film. If you need to know, what not to know, how to sell it, where to get it, everything is in this video. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share all the knowledge.
Well, thank you, Eric, for having me. I always enjoy being on your podcast and listening to your podcast. I don't know if I'm an authority. I think appreciate that. Everything I know comes from, a lot of dialogue with Bray Group. They are the authority. And, I've learned from them over the past several years of having a relationship with them. But I am passionate about the product because at the end of the day, we've made a living at EPD, or a business model of EPD, of trying to make our customers more money. And, that comes with new products. It comes with new programs. It comes in a lot of different ways. And I just look at this one as a slam dunk, no brainer, $300 profit for 20 minutes. Again, not including labor or overhead, and a natural extension or add-on or upsell or cross-sell, whatever you want to call it, to your existing tint, PPF, ceramic coating, vinyl, detailing business. It is a no-brainer. So I hope that everyone listening has learned about this product category, and I certainly invite anyone with additional questions to reach out to me. We have a whole team here at EPD dedicated to educating you about the product. We really would invite you to fill out that application, become involved. We want you to represent the product and sell it. We want to make you a dealer if it makes sense for you and makes sense for the business, because we think this is a great way for you to make money, and an easy one at that.
Yeah, well, part of why I say you're an authority, going back to that, it's never like, it might sound like a compliment, but I'm saying it because it's literal, because of what I see, because I see the investment you make into the website. I see the investments that you've made and the times we've connected to make sure that Tint Wiz was updated so that, users can sell the product more efficiently. And I see the ads. I see you on my Facebook every single day pushing gray and windshield skin. And what I mean is, I've seen the impact that you've made year after year at different events, at Tinter Battles, at Window Film Revolution, at WFCT, and not only just being there and making noise and putting a lot of thought and ingenuity into how your booth is, because it is always a standout. And again, I'm not trying to compliment you. It's literal things. When you go there, it will stand out. But part of how you stand out has always in the last years that I've really been aware of EPD and known you, it's been like leaning on windshield skin, like believing in windshield skin. So what I'm saying is, it's not just words, it's just literally what I see from your actions over the years. And that's what everybody should look at as a whole, is not just ever like people's words, but try to follow people over time, see what they do consistently. And that's why even like I had to bring it up when you mentioned all the content that you write, and that you write content now and you've been writing it for years. Like, those are signs of like where you go, like, he's right there, he's right here. His actions are, backing up his words. And I'm just kind of saying that because, it'd be easy to just go like, Manny, you're the greatest, good job, like, you're amazing, thanks for your time. Those aren't the words. I literally mean every word that I say to you when I call you an authority and when I say thank you for this information, because it's easy to hear about a product and maybe even get your hands on it here and there, but to have the confidence to add it to your lineup and to introduce to your customers and to lean on it, and not just make it this little add-on, but make it something that's in the front of your mind and something that maybe is a significant revenue generator moving forward, that takes a complete package. And I feel like that's what you're offering and you've been offering, is come use it. We're the resource you can lean on for the sales and the support and so on. So that means a lot, and I think should provide a lot of in confidence in those that are considering it.
And I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And thank you for noticing as well. We really have focused on windshield skin for the past 2 years with the introduction of the urethane film, just because the installation is so easy. That changes the whole game for windshield protection film. It really does. It was a great product. Windshield protection film is a great product with PET. But it's becoming a no-brainer with urethane, just because the installation is so much easier. And that's why we've put so many resources, the videos that you see that probably people are getting sick of, the trade shows that we go to where we run the competitions for windshield skin. We've run some ads in Window Film Magazine and PPF Magazine for windshield skin, the new website, the store. So we really want this product category of windshield protection film to have the same adoption rate as tint and PPF. And of course, selfishly, I I want windshield skin to be the windshield protection film of choice. But there's really no reason why we can't make this highly adopted, because again, the environment's right for it. The car's windshields are getting more expensive. They have to. As well as the fact that this is not a niche product. So as dealers look to add services onto their tint and PPF business, you can add color change, right? That's very lucrative. They're great products. They're great films out there, whether they're vinyl or urethane, but they might be niche. They might be just for somebody looking to change a yellow car to blue. This product, windshield skin, is not niche. Everyone has a windshield. So we love it because we think it's just another way to reinforce what we try to do as a distributor, which is provide our customers, our dealers, with tools to make more money. And this one's a no-brainer.
Well, we'll leave it at that, Manny. Thanks again for taking the couple hours to go through this. And if you have any questions, I guess reaching out through epdwindowfilm.com would be the best way. And then there's always Facebook and less traditional methods of tracking you down.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you hosting me today. Appreciate your time. And I appreciate everybody for listening. And again, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you.
Manny, do you know how much a Cybertruck windshield is to replace? Got to be out of stock. Like I feel like
yeah, I thought there were supply chain issues, but I don't know what's the price. Do you know?
No, Cody asked, but what a great thing to investigate. If you're looking to sell it, you get a Cybertruck in there. What a more perfect vehicle to put
I knew that they were in short supply. I don't know what the cost is. If I find out, I will let you know.
I mean, the high cost or the low supply or both together could just be an unbelievable selling pitch.
Yeah,
and also,
I don't know what I think they're pretty big though. So, you
just have to seam it and down.
Correct. You have to seam it in a special way where you don't hinder visibility. But yeah, Cybertrucks are a great candidate for windshield skin for sure.
Here's the other thing about that. Again, let's ignore the seam concept of it for a second. If you're looking for ways to stand out, that's actually maybe one of the best ways to get Cybertrucks in the door, because if you're looking to tint the Cybertruck, you can offer tint and you're going to get some. But if you're offering something that piques their interest as something new, you can get their interest in that. It can also be a foot in the door for upselling other products.
Oh, sure.
So making content around something so unique as that is an opportunity to sell the rest of your products to them as well. It can work both ways, right? PPF sells windshield skin, but windshield skin can spark somebody to inquire, and then you sell them other things as well.
That's right. I think if the Tesla Cybertruck community understands how those windshields are in short supply, they're going to want to protect them. And windshield skin can do just that. And like you said, it brings somebody into the shop for the cross sell to, maybe color PPF for a Cybertruck or tint. So yeah, good point, Eric.
All right. Thank you again, Manny, and thanks everybody else for listening as always. And that's it. Goodbye.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and great night.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.